Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larson. Welcome to another episode of Secret MLM Hacks Radio. I am here in the park again. That seems to be a thing. I don't know. I'm enjoying the last little bits of sunshine before the winter, I guess. Guys, I'm excited for today's episode. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about how to sell to those who have a pre-existing desire to buy what you sell. If you're like me, you know MLM is an amazing opportunity to grow a real asset for yourself. But you also see that there's huge issues starting to emerge. Like, why haven't big MLMs let tactics change in over 30 years? Or why have they been cutting commissions smaller and smaller? Or even, how dumb is it that old MLM rules say you'll get in trouble when you use the internet to grow your team? These are some of the blaring questions we all face today. This podcast will show you how real MLMers like us are waging war on the old dying methods. And we aren't cheating by only bugging uninterested family and friends. Follow this podcast while I expose the shocking methods I'm using to build my 10,000 person downline and get people begging to join my team daily. Here's to the new tactics without all those old, rusty MLM shackles. My name is Steve Larson, and welcome to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. You know, I grew up on a golf course. It was a public golf course. It wasn't like crazy nice or anything, but it was... our house was on the back nine of a public golf course. And, you know, my brother and I ended up working there. In fact, I think all my siblings did. Ended up working there. I was the cart boy. I would just go and I would collect golf balls inside the golf cart. I was that guy that everyone would try and hit at the driving range, you know, like try to hit everybody. Or they were trying to hit us. And I had a lot of fun golfing. I'm not amazing at it at all. In fact, I haven't golfed in years, but, not really. And it was interesting, you know, whenever I would see somebody go up to to the driving range, I never saw them pull out a putter to hit a 300-yard shot. You know, I'm thinking like, duh, and what's the point of this? There's a huge point to this, okay? You don't use a driving right? You don't use a driving club, right? You don't use a long distance club. Let's say you don't know golf. So you don't use a club that's supposed to put the ball 300 yards for a 3-foot shot. You know what I'm saying? For a 1-yard shot. There's different tools. There's different clubs for it. You have to understand that sales is very much the same. Probably about a year and a half ago, I kind of started stumbling on this idea. Well, I'll tell you, actually, when I left my job, I started selling to anybody who was in MLM. I wanted anyone who was already in MLM to come join my MLM, right? And you should think about that. Who do you want in your downline? And so the criteria that I set was, you know what? I want to go grow a big downline and make it even bigger. But the way I want to do it, though, is I want to go for those people who are already in MLM. Now, that was good. Now think about this. I got a few questions I want to hit with you guys real fast on this. If I'm targeting people who are already in MLM, what question do I get to skip? I get to skip the question, isn't MLM a pyramid scheme? You know, that stupid question that idiots will ask you sometimes, right? Just being honest, right? When I sell somebody who has already bought a car, what question do I get to skip? I get to skip the question of, why do I need a car, right? How does it work? How do I drive it? Okay, there's a subtle but extremely powerful lesson with this whole thing. And I started realizing, oh my gosh, if I want somebody to buy my weight loss thing or whatever, I need someone who has already purchased a weight loss thing, okay? Most people, when they're trying to go find, right, I have to do less educating of a customer when I get more strict on my criteria. When I have no criteria on the kind of person I want to bring into my downline or sell my product to, I have to be very good at varying levels of education, right? I have to be very good at delivering very varying levels of education. Like, oh crap, okay, you're gonna come over here. You have a question about, you need to ask me still if MLM is still, oh crap, that means that you're probably never been in MLM before. What other problems are gonna come with that? Probably because you've never been in MLM before. Have you been successful in anything ever? You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be like rude, but it's a legitimate question, right? And then when somebody says like, well, Steven, I don't know that I want to get into this weight loss thing because does it actually work? right? I want somebody, when I go get somebody who has already purchased a weight loss thing, that's not what I'm in, but you understand, like I'm just saying as an example. If I go get somebody who's already been buying a weight loss thing, I don't have to answer or deal with those questions. They're already sold on the fact that that works. It means I don't need to be the best at that piece. Okay, when I go and I sell somebody who's already been in an MLM, that means I don't have to go and answer questions that they're going to ask about, is this a pyramid scheme? How does this work? What is a downline? What is a comp plan, right? Like super noob questions, right? When I go and I target somebody who already knows what a funnel at least is, then I'm not going to get asked questions like, do you mean kitchen funnels? Which people have asked me, okay? What I'm saying here is that inside of this whole thing, when you start figuring out who you actually want to be in your downline, get strict. You're not closing up the pot of people. You're actually making it easier for you to sell and easier for those people to have success with you. And the big fallacy that people have is they'll sit back and they'll say things like, hey, I am, because I'm going after this market and this market and this market, that's better because bigger is better. Not in targeting, okay? It's not in targeting. Yeah, I had somebody ask me 2 days ago, I was on stage, I was pitching, and it went okay. I did like 10 grand, which is, it's like 80 people in the room, so it's not bad. But, it was okay. It was fascinating. I had somebody walk up to me and say, now, Steven, we know that, he said, I can see from what you're doing in the MLM space, what you're doing is you're going after people who are already marketers. I said, yeah. He goes, isn't that hard? I said, not harder than any other sale. He goes, really? He goes, do you think there's enough people in there for you to have enough success? I said, yeah, I mean, it's working now. I just passed my 2,000th person asking to join my downline personally. Right? I'm not saying I accept all of them because I don't. It's a legitimate application and I turn people away a lot. And he goes, are you serious? He goes, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, you guys understand, like the way I bring somebody into my product usually determines what they will do after they're in it. And so if I have to call somebody and I have to beg them in and be like, come on, help me out here, I'm going to be saying the same things to them once they're in, right? They get in, then they get in, then I'm like, come on, help me out here. And it sucks. And it's like, I got to put a cattle prod to their back. Anyway, the whole point I'm trying to make with this episode here is that let's say I'm golfing and let's say I'm on the green, right? So let's say a golf ball lands just a few, like 2 feet away. All right, let's say even closer. Let's say an inch. Let's say my golf ball is resting an inch away from the hole. What's the likelihood that I'm going to hit a hole? What's the likelihood that I'm going to hit it in the hole? It's high, right? Super high. I'm trying to do the same thing in terms of customer education. I want to find people who need less educating for my downline, right? And a lot of that is determined by my sales message and what I put out there. So if you want to have a headache, and I'm not please understand, I respect all people. That's not what I'm trying to say at all, but I want you to just look at it, right? If you want somebody who is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, make it a requirement that you have to educate them on more things, right? If you want somebody who is ready to rock and the success rate can go really, really quickly, right, all you need to do, seriously, is figure out your criteria of who you want and what they already know. Sales messages are stories, but they're also half education. So I need less sales message by definition when I get someone who's already more educated. That makes sense? I'm trying to think of an example of this. Hey, check this out. Okay, when I left my job, it took me 13 months to do my first million, which is awesome. My next million came 7 months later, and then last month I had my first $1 million day, which is really exciting and quite humbling, to be honest. And it's not expecting that. So it's cool. And the thing, this is what changed. When I left my job, the first 2 months were hell. Oh my gosh, they were terrible. Like I was selling, and I don't mean this to be rude, but the first batch of people that came in, not all of them, okay, but a shockingly massive proportion of people, right? The proportion of people going, they were hard to work with. They're like, Steven, how do I build the funnel? I'm like, click add funnel. Where is it? I was like, it's literally on your screen. It's a big yellow button that says add funnel, right? And I'm not trying to belittle this. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I'm not trying to like that. It's to illustrate a point, okay? Because this kind of stuff was happening. Like, Steven, how do I log in? Just click login. How do I do that? It's right there. Click on the link. Where's the link? I was like, I sent it to you when I just replied to you in the last message. You mean this link? I was like, yes, click that link. Then click the link. How do I know this is secure? It's like, because, oh my gosh, because there's a lock button on your tab up there. It means that there's a security ticket on it. Like, well, once I'm in there, like, where do I start? Probably with the welcome video that says welcome right there. How do I know this is gonna work for me? I was like, you know what? It's not, right? Unless you work for it, it will not work for you, right? You have to work. You have to work. Just because it's automated doesn't mean like my life is automated. I work very hard still. And what I started realizing was like, I had the wrong who. I had the wrong customer. I had not put enough filters into who I was trying to recruit. And because of that, I was getting anybody who had the money. That is no way to sell anyone into anything, okay? Money is not the only criteria. Do you have the money? I do. Okay, awesome, now you qualify. No. What I started doing was I started putting more criteria in, and it made my success rate go up because I suddenly stopped getting people who had never done anything in their life ever, okay? Ever. And because of that, I could get more specific in the training. And because of that, they could go further faster. And because of that, my success rate went up. Right? It was the opposite of what everyone teaches. You want a large market. Like, y'all know that episode I did a little while ago while like MLM is oversaturated. Good. It's one of the easiest ways I've made sustained cash. You understand I've not touched that webinar since April of last year. We're revamping it now. Okay, we're revamping the whole, just because like, you know, it looks like I designed it because I did, right? I want to go hire a real designer. They're coming on in, but like almost $1 million has come in off it with very basic bare bones stuff because design is not what sells, right? Anyway, so I'm getting off course here, but I just want you to understand one thing with this is that if you get very clear on who you want, what it lets you do is it allows you to behave like your golf ball is an inch away from the hole and you just got to tap it. And when you let other marketers and other businesses do all the educating for you, and for whatever reason that person has become frustrated, they literally just walked them to the hole for you and placed the golf ball one inch away from the hole. So what I look for is markets who are educating my market for me. Then all I got to do is pick them up from where they are. I'm not trying to make a world record with the golf ball. A lot of you guys are. You're like, that person could do it. With a lot of educating, maybe they could. I don't want that. What I want to do is I don't want this massive amount of like, boom, right? I'm going to set a world record with my golf ball on how much education it takes for me to go sell them and have them be successful. I'm not saying I don't help. It's one of the reasons why I do this podcast. You know, this podcast cost me about 10 grand a month to produce, okay? It's one of the ways I help, just by me documenting what I'm doing here, okay? And so I'm going in, I'm spending this money, and I know that there's people who aren't ready for my downline yet, and that's okay. I'm not trying to, just because they have a heartbeat doesn't mean I should let them in. That's why I have people go through an application. It's a real application. So I'm looking for scenarios and markets and companies that are teeing up my dream customer, someone who's already have been buying something, somebody who already understands that there's this thing called a funnel. One person reached out and asked how to turn on Skype and how to turn their computer on. I was like, oh my gosh, refund the person, okay? This is gonna be one massive case of drudgery for both of us because this person's gonna get frustrated. They're not gonna like this at all, right? The level that they're gonna have to go, you imagine how much stuff somebody who can't even turn the computer on is gonna have to go through? Like, I'm not saying it to be a techie, I don't know how to code, right? But it's just like, I rode my bike here, okay? I like riding my bike. Any brand new bike that I go and I get on, I don't need to relearn balance because I already know it, which means I can get on any bike and immediately start riding with no hands pretty quickly. Once the time for me learning like the new balance is very small. You understand? It's the exact same thing. Same thing with a car. Once you know how to drive a car and all the anxieties leave, you're just like, it's a new car. But for a while, I don't want somebody who's just going through that first education. That is a very rough scenario, and it's not an easy scenario. And frankly, it's a scenario that is, it's why a lot of people get irked in MLM. You sold somebody who probably shouldn't have been sold, right? So the purpose of the episode today is for you guys to sit back and I challenge you to write out a list. I actually have something drawn. I know exactly who I'm trying to sell. I know exactly what I want them to have gone and bought beforehand. I know exactly where I'm going to be taking them. And because of that, my success rate is a lot higher. Does that make sense? And that's why it's been so powerful. All right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully some ahas popped up. Just because you see somebody with the money and they have a heartbeat, that does not mean you should sell them, in my serious opinion. I mean, it's your choice, but there's some major risks that come with it. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. I am very pumped for the kinds of things we're pumping out here soon. Watch carefully. We are redoing the Secret MLM Hacks program. We're giving it a facelift. We're giving it a lot of anyways. Just because it's been a year and a half, I look at it and I'm like, I want to change this and that, right? Anyway, same reason a lot of us buy new cars when we don't need them. We're like, facelift. It'd be fun to have these little extra little things in there for people. So we're tossing in a lot of extra neat things in there as well. A lot of people struggle with creating their first small product, so we're gonna make them for them, which is really cool. And people who have Secret MLM Hacks will give them those products and evergreen people in and grandfather, and it's gonna be really cool. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Go check out Secret MLM Hacks at secretmlmhacks.com. And if you want to see how I'm doing this with funnels, go to themlmfunnel.com, and you guys can see how I'm doing it in MLM with funnels. See you guys. Bye.